Thanks for joining me. I was thinking that with the size and scope of this collection that I've created, I have earned the right to actually share my opinion on some of the recent LEGO sets that have come out. So I'm going to join a ton of other, wannabe YouTubers and share some thoughts on some of the new sets that have come out. So we're going to start with a few from the upcoming Mandalorian and Grogu movie. We'll open up here with set 75460, the New Republic X-Wing Starfighter. Here's a view as to what this set looks like. 75460 is 558 pieces. The New Republic X-Wing Starfighter comes with 3 minifigures, 2.5 if you don't count the R-Series droids as a full minifigure. You can see on the back what this looks like, some basic play features including the X-Wings opening up and down. It does include a ladder for the pilots to get in and out of the ship. Of course, I'm sure it's going to have some stickers. We'll see how that looks in a moment. But let's go ahead and start the build process and see what we think. Let's go ahead and open this thing up. We got the plastic bags this time. Let's see, we got bag 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sticker sheet here. Looks okay. Let me get started with bag number 1 here. And then we'll finish bag 1 and see how far that gets us in the build.
Here we can see what the build looks like as we complete each of the 5 bags. Each bag is roughly 100 pieces, takes in the realm of 5 to 10 minutes to complete. Definitely a build of 558 pieces that you can get completely assembled, certainly within an hour. Enjoyable build, not too much repetition, and like the way it came together. Here we see Colonel Ward, a new minifigure played by Sigourney Weaver. In the movie, there she is with her helmet on. Looks like a great figure. The hairpiece in particular is a great mold. 2 of them standing together. This is Carson, Teva, and Colonel Ward. The one big regret that I have is that they did not include a hairpiece for Carson Teva. So this is actually a custom minifigure from Firestar Toys called The Client that I used in one of my Mandalorian MoCs. And I just had to test out to see what his hairpiece, the bald head, would look like on Carson Teva. I think it looks pretty good. The color does not match perfectly, as you can see here, but man, I just think this was such a miss for LEGO to not include a hairpiece for Carson Teva. I mean, they do it for Colonel Ward. Give the bald guy some love.
Okay, so now it's time for rating time. Set 75460, Republic X-Wing Starfighter. I'm going to walk you through what I think are the 5 different categories I'm going to be using, the things that are relevant to me when I think about buying a set, when I think about displaying a set. Number 1 is what I would call my want factor, the emotional pull, the nostalgia. Is it a set that I feel something towards? When I see it announced, is there an instant feeling of that is something I want, that's something I must have within my collection? The second component of my kind of rating system is going to be around displayability. Is this a set that has presence? Is it something that I want on my shelf that will be a conversation starter for the next 6 to 12 months? The third item is build experience. Did I enjoy building the set? Sometimes certain sets will have repetitive components where it gets a little boring putting the set together. I'll also be interested in whether or not there are new molds or unique parts with the set as well. Fourth is value. This is not just about part to piece ratio and the actual money, but did I feel that I got value out of the set? With the build experience, the displayability, do I generally think that there's value in owning this set? Now, the final one for me, and this is one that might sound a little bit strange, I'm going to call it MoC-Ability. MoC-Ability. Yes, I'm making up new words now, but MoC-Ability is really about whether or not I can use this set in a future MoC. Now, when I talk about a MoC, I mean, could I display this as is in a diorama, for example, and enhance my display that you see behind me. Those are constantly things that are on my mind. So some things that I think about with regards to MoC-Ability is scale, the minifigures. Is it minifig scale especially is hugely important to me. And also sometimes, would I want more than one of this set? This is quite frequent with battle packs, etc. So I think MoC-Ability will really ramp a lot of those sets up more so than others. So the first rating here will be the want factor. How bad do I want this? On a scale of 1 to 4, I would give this a 3. Now, needless to say, I've not seen the Mandalorian and Grogu movie yet. It's coming out in a couple weeks. But I have enjoyed most of the Mandalorian seasons. I've enjoyed Ahsoka. Now, to be very clear, these are not top of the charts. This isn't original trilogy level or Andor, Rogue One level of epicness, if that's such a thing. But I have enjoyed the Mandalorian. So the New Republic, I'm interested to see Carson Teva. I think he's a good character. So I give this a 3 in terms of how badly I wanted this when I saw it come out. The second rating is displayability. I'm going to give this a 2 on the displayability. I did a little bit of research, and I do believe that this set 75460, is the 15th play scale or larger size X-Wing that we've had. Okay? So I think it's fair to say most Lego collectors, if this is your jam, you probably have an X-Wing somewhere. And one of the things with my collection, despite having decent space, I try very hard not to be too redundant. I don't want 7 different X-Wings. I have the UCS X-Wing. I know UCS is kind of in a different category, different scale all its own, but it's constantly something on my mind in terms of conserving space. Build experience for me on this, probably a 3. It's a relatively small set. It has 558 pieces, so it's definitely something you can knock out in less than an hour. No grossly repetitive tasks. Yes, it has 2 wings, so kind of top, bottom, so 4 different wing styles that you need to build, but they're very simple, they're easy to build. So I enjoyed the overall build itself. I would give it a 3. Category 4 is value. I know I'll probably get laughed out of the YouTube room for this, but I actually think this set has pretty good value for what the price is. I paid $70 for this. I think it was $69.99 retail at the Lego store. I bought it a couple days after it came out. It has 558 pieces, 2 minifigures, 1 astromech. I know people get bent out of shape about, oh, you shouldn't be counting pieces. Look, that tends to be the default way that most collectors look at their collection, look at the prices. So $70 against 558 pieces, that's 12.5 cents per piece. That to me is relatively good value for money for a Star Wars Lego set. Yes, it is a reality that Star Wars sets are priced up. Why they do that? Because they know I'm an addict, because they know I'm going to buy it, because the licensing fees demand it. They need to pass that cost on to the consumer. I don't know. I'm certainly not privy to any of that information. I can make my assumptions, but 12.5 cents per piece for a set like this to me is pretty good value for money. I'm actually going to give this a 4. I'll be very clear. I bought this set myself. I certainly am not in the Lego Ambassadors Network or anything like that. So these opinions are my own, but I actually think this is a pretty good value for money set. Now, the 5th category, MoC-Ability, this is a 4. And this is something for me that is very near and dear to my heart and really impacts how aggressively I would buy a set like this. For me, this is a perfect minifig scale and relatively affordable X-Wing. This is a set that I've only bought 1. I may buy another. I have this idea after I see the Mandalorian movie of perhaps building their base, a Delphi base from the movie, from the Mandalorian series. This fits in perfectly. It would be something I could really picture building a really cool diorama or display around. Again, I'm a sucker for scale, so I think the minifigs look good. I think that the size of the set looks great from a minifig perspective, and there's not too much razzle-dazzle. It's relatively simple, it gets the job done, and I think it's something that would look great in a Mothra diorama. So there you have it. We have a final score here of 16 out of 20 for the New Republic X-Wing, set number 75460. Now, the build is done, the review is done, it's time to put it in the display and see where I can find a good spot for it. Thank you for watching.
So here you can see a view of my DF-120 shelf. These are all Ahsoka and Mandalorian sets. Not all of them are here, of course, but really that's kind of what this shelf is dedicated to. I'm zeroing in on a location for the New Republic X-Wing. I think I'm going to jam it in here between the Pirate Snub Fighter and the speeder bike from the Mandalorian. So getting it set up with the acrylic stand. Now, the actual fighter itself is just going to sit there. I do like to live dangerously sometimes, but it actually does fit pretty well, relatively snug. I bought these acrylic stands off of eBay from a gentleman named Zach Paris, or at least a company named Zach Paris.
So there it is, flying high. I might even see if I can deploy the wings. Much better.
So there you have it. The DF-120 is now complete, adding the New Republic X-Wing. I can see in the near future I'm going to need to separate this shelf and put the Ahsoka sets in one area and the Mandalorian in another. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.